Alright, it looks like Nintendo is going absolutely ham when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because we've got a bunch of new gameplay information, clips, size, and even more when it comes to potentially this game being open world completely or more segmented like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. We're going to go ahead and get into all of that, plus more Nintendo Switch RPG goodness. But before we get into any of this, what's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first as we drop new RPG content pretty much daily on the channel and also have live streams. So subscribe up and be a part of the elite ninja village here. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the topics, and we're getting into Xenoblade Chronicles 3. You guys know Xenoblade is one of my favorite games, one of my favorite franchises of all time, and I'll be honest, I think Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is probably going to be my game of the year. I think even after looking at some of these clips, after looking and reading the synopsis, after looking and kind of just going through everything, I don't think I've been as hyped for an RPG probably since like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That was like the last time I've been that hyped. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and I know I was extremely hyped for Pokemon Legends Arceus because I actually even bought the like New Zealand version just so I can play it a bit earlier when it comes to everything. So those are the two RPGs that I've just been like insanely hyped for, Xeno 2 and also Pokemon Legends Arceus, and this game is getting up to those levels, but there's a certain level of satisfaction that's even better because this game got moved up. I thought it was going to be September and I was already blown away with that, but then they said nope, not September. It's going to be July 29th, where essentially it looks like they did a old stop and swap. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and also Splatoon 3 and just swapped their release dates. Once again, not officially, but it does seem that way. But either way, I'll take it because that's going to give us a incredible RPG lineup for this summer, and July is just going to be awesome like I covered in a previous video. But let's talk about some of this new stuff. You guys are seeing new clips of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 gameplay, and remember guys, the footage that you're seeing is captured. There is some compression going on and all that. It's not direct feed type of footage. It's taken off of the websites or off Twitter, so just keep that in mind when you're looking through some of the footage. But already I can point out a number of things when it comes to it. Now, people were talking about the UI being a little bit cramped. Well, in some of the gameplay clips that you can see here, the left side of the UI is now taken away, or it seems like there might be a drop box, or you can turn on and off different UI elements in the game, or it's just something that can be kind of like switched on or off. So I do like that, and we'll see what else it does. But also this gives us a wider scope of the game. Now remember, in Xenoblade Chronicles you can zoom in and out, and in the trailers I'm pretty sure they were kind of zoomed all the way in, or not all the way but near, you know, close. So that's why it seemed a bit more cramped, whereas in some of these videos it's zoomed out a bit more. And you can do this in most or pretty much all of the Xenoblade games. You can zoom in and out in battle and kind of make it look and rotate the camera and everything. So I do think that this gives us a little bit more of a clearer picture of how you're going to be fighting, opens up some space, doesn't look as cramped. So I do like that. But I also feel that the UI is extremely sleek. I love the touch of reddish orange and kind of that color scheme. It looks fantastic with the different characters on the left and everyone just battling. But I think the big thing here with this game, the topography and what they're doing with the world and environments, is this an open world game? I get a lot of people asking me this on my live streams, and there's been discussion on the different Twitterverse and also YouTube pages and all of that. And I want to stress with this, guys, this is just something that I'm just looking at, not necessarily saying it's 100%. I got kind of bodied after Pokemon Legends Arceus came out, and that ended up not being completely open world, like not by a long shot. So I don't want to say that it is, but based off of the surroundings and kind of what I'm seeing here and stuff that we'll get into in just a bit with the graphical perspective of this game and the art, it definitely seems like it's leaning more towards the Xenoblade X realm than the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 realm or kind of a tweener like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 realm. It does seem like it's going to be more like Xenoblade Chronicles X, or what it's going to do, it's going to be like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 when it comes to more of an open world, but have like 2 segmented areas, like just 2 large different areas, or multiple really big different areas to go through. So it'll be better than 2 and kind of enhance on 1, or it might just be completely open like Xenoblade Chronicles X, based off of the stuff that I'm seeing right here. But that brings me to the next thing here, and that is the graphical presentation of the game. You can clearly see that this is Takahashi Team 1. They've taken the best elements of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, kind of taking that anime aesthetic, but then they've also taken what was nice about Xenoblade Chronicles X and the topography and how the game looks, just how the environments look. It looks far more detailed and a lot better than what I saw with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and enhances upon what we saw in Xenoblade Chronicles X, while adding in that touch that we know when it comes to the stylistic and kind of the color scheme and everything. Definitely has a better color scheme than Xenoblade Chronicles X did on the Wii U. So I am very excited to see how good this game looks, but also performance of the game. People were worried about potential slowdown during battles and all the different stuff that's happening in the open world. Well, as you guys can see here in these videos, these are just raw gameplay videos. There really isn't any slowdown. There really isn't any issues that we've seen so far. Now, don't get me wrong. There might be some hitches once Digital Foundry gets their paws on this game, but I highly doubt that I'll have some of the issues that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 had, because that was made by a much smaller team, probably a smaller budget as well, and this is the next big Xenoblade game. So I think it's going to be really cool to see exactly how everything works and how everything flows with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in the game when it comes out this July. So very excited about that. And also from a resolution standpoint, that was also a big issue originally, but you can see from the trailers and you can see from the gameplay that everything looks smooth and nice, very much like Xenoblade Chronicles X, but even better. So this is all good news at this point. You can tell that they put their heart and soul into making probably the conclusion of this arc of stories with Shulk and Rex and Pyra and Mithra and Adam and everyone, and kind of making it all to a conclusion here with Melia and also Nia as well, Van Damme. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that's going down. Now, they also talked about the blades, that the characters in this game, all of their weapons are kind of formed by their own personality. So it takes the shape of swords, or like guns, or spears, or hammers, or different types based on the character, and those are called blades. Not that they are called blades, but those weapons are called blades. So that creates a whole slew of lore possibilities in terms of blades, because as you know, Pyra and Mithra are blades, right? Those people are blades. There's a bunch of blades in Xenoblade 2. So what happens to those people that are blades outright? Is that still a thing? What's going on there? Did something happen? Like, did they evolve past that? Like, what is going on? So I am very, very excited to see how this kind of wraps up the conclusion and arc of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, you know, so very good overall. Excited. You guys can tell by my voice, right? So we also got some new art and screenshots, link in the description, so you guys can check that out too. The game is just looking great, and I think that's why they're showing off so much stuff here. And last but definitely not least, when it comes to Xenoblade, guys, Nintendo just somehow, I don't know how they did it, but they got it done. They just fit the game on that 16 gigabyte cartridge, so no extra download, at least initially. I do think that there might be DLC for this game. I think down the line they might put some DLC and maybe it will exceed that, but obviously that's not going to be on the cartridge. But I think that there's going to be plenty of game like always, but somehow those madmen over at Monolith Soft got this game to be 15 gigabytes, which is actually smaller, I think, than Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. If you do all like the data packs and all that, I think that was like 20 gigs or somewhere around there. So that is incredible. Their compression technology and what they're doing there even got better overall, so very good on that front. So what are your thoughts on everything when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and all the new footage and information that we dropped here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys, a game that was off my radar when it comes to RPGs is actually looking like a really cool retro 16-bit inspired RPG that can delight fans out there, JRPG that can delight fans out there, and this is called Chained Echoes. So now we have a new trailer and also a release window as well. So this game will launch for the PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch, and that is in Q4 of 2022. Publisher Deck 13 Spotlight and developer Matthias Linda announced. Those are some very interesting names. So here's an overview of this game, and I want to check this out because I've never heard about it up until now. Shout outs to my man Stealth for putting this out on Twitter too. So it says, take up your sword, channel your magic, or board your mech. Chained Echoes is a 16-bit Super Nintendo Entertainment System-style RPG set in a fantasy world where dragons are as common as piloted mechanical suits. Follow a group of heroes as they explore a land filled to the brim with charming characters, fantastic landscapes, and vicious foes. Can you bring peace to a continent where war has been waged for generations and betrayal lurks around every corner? Chained Echoes is a story-driven game where a group of heroes travel around a vast continent of Valandis to bring an end to a war between three kingdoms. In the course of their journey, they will travel through a wide array of diverse landscapes spanning from wind-tanned plateaus to exotic locations to sunken cities and forgotten dungeons. So you guys are checking out this trailer, and once again, it looks really cool for one of these retro-inspired 16-bit RPGs. It's story-driven, so you can bet that there's going to be all sorts of twists and turns. I do like the locations going on here, and honestly, with games like Triangle Strategy and Live Alive, and now Chained Echoes coming out, Sea of Stars as well, bring these old school inspired, cool, original IPs to the Nintendo Switch and other systems, and I think fans are going to be happy. This is exactly the type of game that people want to play nowadays. People really think that it's all about AAA, AAA, AAA. No, not exactly. We saw how games like Triangle Strategy sell, selling 800,000 copies in a couple weeks. We saw how games like Bravely Default 2 and how games like Monster Hunter Stories 2 and how some of these RPGs that aren't the biggest or best budgets out there, stuff like Octopath Traveler, retro-inspired games, are doing extremely well. There is a market for this, so very happy to see this game. Didn't know about it until recently, but I'll definitely be checking it out in Q4 of 2022, and it's very far away from Xenoblade Chronicles, which is a good thing because I'm going to be playing Xenoblade so much in the summer, July, and also August as well. So what are your thoughts on this brand new RPG, Chained Echoes? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the final topic here, guys. This was announced just a bit ago, but I wanted to go over it because this adds one of the best strategy RPGs ever released to the Nintendo Switch Online. If you have it, Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack, yes, Shining Force 2 alongside Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball and Space Harrier 2, okay? Not so bad there. So Sega Genesis Nintendo Switch Online has added Shining Force 2, Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball, Space Harrier 2, Nintendo has announced. But you guys all know Sonic Spinball looks great. I played that back in the day. Space Harrier, awesome. But let's talk about Shining Force 2. This is the RPG that you guys need to check out. So Shining Force 2 joins the original Shining Force in the Sega Genesis Nintendo Switch Online library. In this tactical RPG fantasy adventure, you're tasked with leading the titular Shining Force in cinematic battles against ancient evil that threatens to overtake the land. Now, I played this game a bit back in the day at a friend's house, and I was blown away, kind of by just like the graphics and kind of how the cameras and everything that they did back in the day. Now, obviously, we have a bunch of RPGs that have done that with Fire Emblem and more and Triangle Strategy. There's been all this cool stuff that has came out, Mario plus Rabbids, so now it's not as impressive, but back then, you know, I didn't even know any better. I was like, wow, what is this when it comes to Shining Force and Shining Force 2? So to see them add another high quality tactical strategy RPG to the list, definitely a good thing for Nintendo Switch Online plus the expansion pack. We recently got the information about the Splatoon Octo expansion being dropped in there as well, so the value is building there. Now, I'm not a big retro type of person. I'll be the first to admit that, okay? I'm not a big retro type of person because I have an insane backlog of new games that I haven't played, and a lot of these games that come out, I've already played them, but it's really cool to see these RPGs and these different games come out to where the new generation can be able to experience them in a easier manner than, you know, buying some type of weird, you know, thing online or doing some type of emulation if they don't have a PC that can play it or whatever the case is, right? So I do like the fact that they're adding dope RPGs like Shining Force, and please, Nintendo, the partners, everybody, keep those coming, all right? So what are your thoughts on the different topics here from Xenoblade and also Chained Echoes, Nintendo Switch Online with Shining Force 2 and more? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and we will see you for the next video. Peace.